All right, good morning, everyone. I have a little bit of a cold going on, so bear with me. So this is a tier list creation of, I don't know if they're called signature cards exactly, but, investigator cards. So it's supposed to be really, really chill. We'll work on some rankings together. It's nothing I did much prep for other than get the pictures in and get ready for that. So it's definitely something I just wanted to riff off of. But let's go ahead and get started. So the tier list maker did cut off some names, but I'll look up stuff and if we need to, and I'll be looking at all the cards, of course. So the first one is Analytical Mind. So this is Min Tai Fan's card. It's 3 costs, 2 wilds, a talent. You may commit 1 card to each skill cast performed by an investigator in another location. That's really nice. Usually Min needs to stick closely by everybody to use her ability. So, well, it doesn't help her ability, I suppose. Let's see. See if that works with her ability. If you commit something. Yeah, at your location, but still, it lets you help people who are not at your location, which is nice. After you commit exactly 1 card to a skill test, exhaust to draw a card. That's really strong. So I'm thinking for now we're gonna stick that in B tier. We'll see. Maybe it'll be A tier. I don't want to put a ton of cards in the A tier, and especially not a ton of cards in the S tier. So probably everybody knows this, but S tier is just the top tier for this sort of thing. I want maximum between 5 and 10 S tier cards, maybe 5 S tier cards. We'll have to see. Let's take care of this right off the bat. Duke is pretty cut and dry S tier. He is the Ashcan Pete deck, basically. And then now we have... Oh, we should also... D tier, pretty much just used for symbols. Tote bag. We have quite a few people play Daisy in real life in my card groups, and we barely see this card used for anything other than icons. Another one here. Let's see. Yeah, on the lamb, pretty much just icons. It is 4 icons, which is nice, but I think there was the stream Mythosbusters did where we got hype because we actually saw On the Lamb get played. So that shows how good that is, or not so good. I think they didn't want to get split split to angle. Yeah, it's okay with illisogram, but you have to play a illisogram to get that. Let's take a look at split the angle here. Because maybe some people haven't seen it, but action, revealed top card of the encounter deck, and then you can exhaust it to discard top card of your deck to discard the top card of the counter deck. So spending the action to do that is pretty bad, which is why you want something like illisogram who can do it anyway. But if you have to play illisogram to do that, that's not the greatest. And then, so Becky. Most weapons are probably going to be B tier. Most of them aren't like groundbreaking, but I think Becky's probably going to be in the A tier. She's a good resource sink for Tommy. If Tommy's doing okay on resources and just needs to do something with his ability, and it's cheap. It does the standard +2 to fight, +1 damage. Only thing about it, it only starts with 2 ammo, but again, pretty easy to set off his ability. So Becky, to me, is one of the better signature weapons in the game. And then now we have bounty contracts. My goodness. Bounty contracts. So it's either here or here. You have the potential of getting 6 extra actions. If you kill things with long colt, you get even more. You get Tony's Elder Sign, you get even more. Might be low S tier, to be honest. It's incredibly good. Free actions is really good. It's permanent. You don't have to play it. You just have to decide, slap a contract on it or not. It's pretty easy to use. So I think we're going to go S tier for the moment. Bury them deep. So bury them deep is delve too deep, but a little bit nicer. There are some circumstances, I can't think of them off the top of my head, where you could bury something that would normally come back. And that's really good. But I'm probably going to go something like C tier. C tier isn't bad, it's just okay. It's probably not as good as Analytical Mind. So for the moment, we're going to throw that there. It's not a bad card, it's just not incredibly impactful most of the time. And then the Detective Colts, speaking of weapons, so it's kind of expensive at 4 resources. Up to 2 tool assets you control. Just have plenty of ammo. The fight's a little, it's okay. It's basically 45 automatic, which isn't bad. And then he's all about the insights, so being able to kill things and moving insights is always good. I think it's okay. It's good for prolonging and long scenarios. Otherwise, it's not like a fantastic boss killing item or anything. So I think B tier. I often see Colts being chucked for icons as well. So B tier for now, maybe C tier later. No brainer. Don't need to talk about it. Family inheritance. You get some, permanent card that gives you 4 resources a turn. I can't really go anywhere else, right? And then this one, to figure out what that is. Is that Twilight Blade? No, it's not Twilight Blade. That's something else. Not sure what that is. We'll skip it. Oh, speaking of S tier, gate box, obviously. Get out of jail free. Most of the S tier cards are going to be permanent. And then gate box is insane. It's the best part about Luke. Foolishness. Hopefully the people who did the quiz last night remembered that foolishness was a thing. It's a cat for the cat question. So foolishness is a pretty tanky ally, but comes with 3 horror on him. And then you can heal the horror off of it. And then when you have no horror on him, you get +1 to all skills. That seems pretty slow. The main bad thing about foolishness, and I'm not going to put things into tier lists because of this, but I think the attached weakness is pretty terrible. But I think this is too slow to be really good. And so I don't know if this is D, but it's probably C tier. And then, oh, is this? I think this is the Colt, the Tony Morgan's weapon. Let me look. No, it's not that there. I don't know. So I don't know what this is yet. We'll figure it out. Anyway, since I talked about it, let's look at the long colts. So long colts are a bit weird. You have to put bounties on it to get any advantage to fight, and +1 damage is decent. Well, most of the weapons are going to be +1 damage. It is nice that you can play another one for free, but then you kind of have two semi-mediocre weapons out at the same time. It's okay for if you are going after a boss and put like 2 bounties on something, then it's pretty good. It's kind of like Joe's weapon. It's good for reload, and if the scenario is extending a lot and you're killing a lot of things, then it's nice to be able to reload the bounties. Other than that, it's not really much better than a lot of other weapons he has access to, which is kind of an issue. I wouldn't put it C, probably B for now. Alright, so Green Man Medallion. Best part of Green Man Medallion is you don't have to play Searching for Izzy, which is not a judging criteria for me. So you can spend up to 3 resources. This is from her book, Replacement Card. Spend up to 3 resources and exhaust the medallion. And then when you resign or the game ends, for every 6 offerings on Green Man Medallion, reduce the experience cost of the next card you purchase before the next scenario by 1. So the idea of it is good. Having a resource sink is okay. There's just too many card effects that Jenny wants as many resources as she can. So it's hard to envision using this a whole lot. Like we got Well Connected now, we've got High Roller. If you're playing both signatures, you've got Twin 45s to dump resources in. I think it's better for Jenny just to play the great expensive cards she has, or hoard resources for stuff like Well Connected. So it's okay in the beginning of a campaign. After that, it's kind of just, I think it has double wild icons, so it's kind of just a third copy of Unexpected Courage, so not fantastic. Alright, so now we have the Heirloom of Hyperborea. Let's take a Heirloom. So, Agnes. 3-cost asset, takes up the Holy Rosary slot. Reaction after you play a spell card, draw a card. Is it better than just throwing down Holy Rosary or any number of relics? I don't know. There isn't a whole lot of card draw in Mystic, so that's nice for that. It's probably okay. Comparing it to like Analytical Mind, it's not as good as that one for card draw. And you have to spend a slot on it. So for now, I'm going to think. The one nice thing about Heirloom is that you can draw off of skill or spell events, which is nice. So your ward of protections, deny existences, all the fancy new like spectral razors, all that stuff. I know it could be high C, low B. We'll see. Haven't really ranked these within the tier, so I don't know if I'll do that or not. Next one here, hypnotic therapy. I am not an expert on Carolyn Fern, so let's look it up. So you can exhaust it. Test intellect 2. If you succeed, heal a horror from an investigator at your location. Then that investigator may draw a card. Reaction: after one of your other card effects heals horror from an investigator. Exhaust hypnotic therapy. That effect heals one additional horror. So it's really nice because it has a static ability. Well, you don't have to. It's a lot more consistent than otherwise because you just need to exhaust it to use it. Unlike like medical texts or liquid courage, it can't hurt anybody, which is nice. You're probably going to use the reaction a decent amount as well. So yeah, I think this is pretty strong. Of course, healing isn't always everybody's favorite thing to do in Arkham. If you're playing Fern, then of course you're kind of leaning into that anyway. But again, healing's not getting you clues or killing things, but I personally like healing. Kind of built a investigator around that. So I think for Fern, might be A tier, might be low A tier. We'll see. And then we have, I think this is Finn's gun, isn't it? Let's see. Yeah, this is Finn's gun. Okay. So Finn's trusty 38. So it's cheap. It's illicit because of course it is. So that's good with his smuggled goods. You get +2, but you don't get extra damage unless the enemy is not engaged with you, which is kind of annoying. Of course, Finn has a free evade action every turn, so that's not bad. But shooting for 1 damage never feels good anymore since the corset, or just killing acolytes or anything like that. Never remember this being too groundbreaking when I play Finn. And there's plenty of good rogue weapons now, thanks to the starter decks. So I think this is probably a C tier weapon. Definitely one of the better C tier cards, for sure. But I don't know, might be low B. Alright, and then I'm done running. Haven't played Rita yet, so this is definitely theory crafting. If there's any Rita fans in the audience, let me know. So fast during your turn, ready engage all enemies at your location. Remainder of your turn, whenever you evade an enemy, instead of exhausting and disengaging, you may deal it a damage. So this is a nice way of dealing 3 damage to something with only your evasion. That's really good. If you're bodyguarding for somebody, it's a taunt, which is nice. So, yeah, that could save a lot of turns. It's a little bit on the situational side, but that's okay. It's cheap. You can play it whenever you want. It's 0 resources. You just kind of hold on to it. Yeah, I could see this getting B tier. Can't quite do enough damage for it to be like a boss killer or anything like that, although it could definitely help just evade a I suppose instead of exhausting, so you're not, if you want to deal damage, you don't have to necessarily exhaust it, but first action exhaust it, and then, although I suppose you would have to evade, deal damage, evade, deal damage, evade, exhaust if you wanted to go that route. But still, I think that's a pretty good card for a couple of different uses. Jake Williams. I don't see him, well, not played. He's not just icon fodder, but I've never seen him just take over a scenario either. So the first move or investigate action you perform each turn does not provoke attacks of opportunity. Well, avoiding attack of opportunity is nice. I think the problem is this is the ally slot, and there's Rook and other allies that are probably better than him. He's a decent soak at 3 cost and 3 and 2. And then, yeah, the reaction to draw cards is okay. So probably B tier. Let's see, probably better than the Colts. Yeah, maybe something like that. Maybe Analytical Mind should be low A tier. We'll see. Speaking of guns, so Jenny's twin 45s probably feels incredible to put like 20 ammo in this for no reason. Has decent stats, takes up 2 hand slots, but that doesn't seem to be too big of an issue with Jenny. You're just replacing other weapons with it. You can kind of do... it is nice to put down twin 45s in like the middle of a game and then not worry about playing weapons. So it saves you a lot of actions in that respect if you just put down a weapon with 1 million ammo on it. It is kind of interesting that they put out 45 Thompson. That's almost as good as this. So now Jenny kind of has 3 copies of this card, which is nice. It's not like game breaking or anything. So I do think it's definitely better than these weapons. So I think A tier is fine, and this hypnotic therapy needs to go up as well. The Trumpet. So last time I played Jim, I was playing double arcane research and Mr. Rook to try to get the Trumpet to immediately heal it off, and I never got Rook to find, barely got Rook to find Trumpet. We took 1 million trauma, my wife and I, in Circle and Done, and then we somehow still won the campaign. thanks to the swinginess of the last scenario. So that was a frustrating but successful campaign somehow. Yeah, I think being able to heal a horror, it's a hand slot, so it's not in too much conflict with Jim. It would just be something like maybe Enchanted Blade, Ritual Candles, that sort of thing. I think Healing Horror for Mystics is really nice. You've got Shriveling. You've got other effects that add horror, and of course, Arcane Research. So I think this is going A tier. Probably behind the weapons. Something like that. We'll make I'm done running low A tier. Might become high B tier. And so now we have another ally in Mitch. And I think Mitch is not fantastic. The problem is non-unique allies. There's so many good unique allies for Leo that having to handicap yourself in order to make this one-off Mitch Brown good, and you'd have to hard mulligan for Mitch Brown. I played a little bit of Leo, not a ton, but I think it's a lot better just to have the versatility of those unique allies. So I don't think he's worth it, which means he's not quite D tier, but he's definitely low C tier. I would much rather play unique allies than have Mitch. All right, so my favorite of the newer allies, Molly Maxwell. So you exhaust, dealer horror, name any trait, and then you look for reveal cards from the top until you draw an asset with the name trait. So at worst, she's an overqualified arcane initiate. At best, you can make a deck around her. So stuff like Recall the Future. Any talent cards, you could run Charisma and just get really good allies like Sorcerer is a good one. You get David out with Patron. There's a lot of different traits you can really take advantage of. It is unfortunate that a lot of the spell assets are just spell traded, so you can't search for anything like that. But other than that, it's not much to complain about. The stats are really good. 2 health, 4 sanity for 3 cost. If you hit your Elder Sign, you can pick her back up and replay her, healing all of that sanity. It's a fast action, so not much to hate with Molly Maxwell. She's not on S tier. Obviously, you don't start with her in the game. But definitely A tier. Probably pretty high up here. Let's put Becky back to about here, I think that makes sense. And then we have Mystery Remains, the promo card for Roland in his book. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. All right, so 0 cost, fast, which is great. Either place a clue from the token bank on your location or discover a clue at your location. So it's a really good working a hunch. Placing a clue, you can do a cheeky combo with Hawkeye folding camera to just power the camera up easier find a low shroud location and throw a clue on it. Icons are okay. Insight, I don't think you can search for this anyway. If it was practiced, you could search for this, I think. Maybe not. My seeker knowledge isn't that great. But I think this is a decent card. Is it like incredibly game changing? I don't know. It's probably high B tier. Just as working a hunch. Yeah, it's probably up there. And then we have Marie Lambeau's card. Let's see. Let's check the spelling on this. And I can't find it, which is fun. Well, she's in TCU too, so we can find it there. Mystifying song. Thought it was something like that. Anyway, 3 cost, 2 wilds. Fast, play when the agenda would advance by reaching its doom threshold until the end of the phase. The agenda cannot advance. So this is almost like a time walk ability. If we think Ancient Evils is kind of like skipping a turn almost, this would give you another turn. You still have to draw mythos or encounter cards, of course. Oh, she's not a book. That's why. I thought she was a promo for some reason. Oh well. It is kind of expensive at 3. So you're going to have to save resources if you want to play that. You can... Yeah, I think this is really powerful. So the only thing holding it back is 3 costs is kind of expensive, but it's probably A tier somewhere up here. Probably something like there. And then Nautical Prowess. Well, yeah, this card's amazing. Oops. So in case you haven't seen it, it's Stylus Marsh's skill. If you get a negative token, you can draw a card or it gets +2 wilds. So this can pass a lot of tests for you that you shouldn't be passing. I like that it has willpower and an intellect icon, so it's 2 things that shore up Stylus's weaknesses. It's one of thanks, Fade. It's one of the if you're playing solo Stylus, it's one of your best investigating skills other than like Inquiring Mind. So yeah, never feel bad to draw this card. It's not permanent, but it doesn't cost anything, so it's pretty accessible in that way. So probably, yeah, I might have talked myself into low S tier with this. Hopefully the Innsmouth version of Stylus's card is good, so I can so we can run both signatures at the same time. And then we have Patrice's Violin. All right, so 2 costs, which is nice. Fast action, choose and discard card from your hand, exhaust Patrice's Violin. Choose an investigator to either gain a resource or draw a card. I'll admit, haven't played a lot of Patrice, but I've seen her played a lot. Since you drop your hand every turn, and you may not be able to play your hand all times. It's nice to have a sync for that. Yeah, considering that, it seems really, really good. If you want to, suppose you can discard Moonstone at the end of your turn anyway, but Patrice's Violin could discard Moonstone for you as well. So this is probably A tier to me. It's not like game changing, although even if it's just, you know, Lone Wolf for you, gain a resource a turn with a card you're not gonna use. That's pretty good. Yeah, so probably A tier, probably ahead of the weapons. Probably something like that. Getting to the point where I'm putting a million things in the same tier, but we'll see. Roland's 38 special. What was Roland's weapon called? I haven't played a lot of Roland. Yeah, 38 special. So 4 ammo is nice, 3 cost for a 3 cost weapon. +1 fight is okay, but more than 1 clues in your location, +3 is incredible. Attack deals +1 damage. I think that +3 would go off pretty often. So it's pretty, you know, on the higher end of decent weapons. So probably either with the Colts or not, or here. Getting +3 to hit is really good. So I think I'm going to put it here. And then search for the truth. So Rex's card. First of all, the icons are awesome. 2 intellect and a wild icon. Drawing cards, X is the number of clues on Rex Murphy. Like I said in my video, I don't always want to draw cards when I'm playing Rex Murphy. Just so I don't keep drawing the curse over and over again. Although, again, I shouldn't evaluate. I'm not going to evaluate cards based on their attached weakness. So it's an okay drawing card. Seems like Seeker can do this anyway without this, and it's you might get a little too greedy with this card if you're just trying to hold on to it for maximum effect. Of course, in multiplayer, you could get up to 5 cards pretty easily, so that's not bad. I don't know if there's going to be a Rex with a super huge hand size deck archetype out there, but Harvey can do that a little bit better. So I don't know. It's almost just like a slightly better Preposterous Sketches, which to me that says C tier. And now we have Smuggled Goods. So it's free. Play only if there's no ready enemies. That's pretty easy to satisfy that. Search your discard pile or top 9 cards for an illicit deck or illicit card. You search your deck, shuffle it into your deck. So this is it's one of the best thematic cards in the game if you like to build around a theme. Most illicit cards are weapons at this point, I think. Which Finn can play with weapons. But then you wonder if you're going too far into the fighting direction. So yeah, a lot of weapons. A couple of cards like Fence isn't bad. The ability to shuffle it up and find it again is pretty nice. Although if you don't need to search anything, then it comes to be kind of a dead draw. It only has one icon. So it's okay. I think it's a decent B tier. Probably a higher end B tier. Just depends on how many illicit cards you want to run. Yeah, it's probably up there. Next we have Sophie. Pretty much has to be S tier. It's permanent. It's an unexpected courage whenever you want. It's a card draw whenever you want, because Mark draws when he takes damage. The only thing about it is with Sophie, let's pull her up. Only problem with Sophie is that you have too much damage on Mark, then it flips over and becomes a negative version of Dark Horse, which isn't great. And this is direct damage, so you can't just hit your allies for this, or True Grit. So it does kind of limit. Mark can still be a tank, but he's not quite as good as a tank as he could be because of Sophie. But I think it's still S tier. I mean, it's a card draw and an unexpected courage for no effort. So it can't be anything lower than S tier. And then we have Spirit Speaker. So my wife's favorite investigator. You can exhaust it, choose an asset with charges, either return that to your hand or move all charges of that asset to your resource pool. So yeah, adding resources is really, really good. Adding, picking up a spell and then putting it back down just compounds with their ability even more. Home front. Did I forget the home front? I forgot the home front. Whoops. Well, not sure if I can edit this or not, but yeah. Home front would be A tier. It's four fight icons. You can move damage onto somebody, so it's like a ridiculous version of Vicious Blow. Definitely A tier. I'll have to add that in later. Yeah, Spirit Speaker, there are going to be... It's also kind of nice if you're going to play Akachi with only 2 spell slots and stuff like Suggestion or cards that aren't purely fighting or purely cleavering. So that's really good. The only thing is it's not like fantastic tempo or anything like that. It's one of those cards that gets better the longer the scenario goes, which is not always a great thing. Still, I think this could be a low A, high B. So that's where I'm going to put that. And then, yeah, split the angle. I put split the angle in twice. No, I used the wrong card for split the angle. Yeah, grotesque statue. Yeah, I think kind of like Molly Maxwell, you can build your deck to really take advantage of this. So I think low A is actually better. So this is the actual split the angle. We'll put that in D. High D tier here. And then, so this was the codex. Let's take a look at the codex. after I close a million tabs. Yeah, so you seal, it takes a hand slot, no biggie. Seal the Elder Sign, get +1 willpower, and then you can Deus Ex Machina a test and turn it into an Elder Sign. So it's just more Mateo. Yeah, I think this is one of the best things about him. It's cheap. It's a little bit annoying with certain groups of investigators, and of course, it also gets annoying, the more people are in the game. But true solo, this is almost S tier, I think. Being that said, it's probably just a high A tier, might be a low S tier, I don't know. We've got at least a couple S tier cards already. I also totally missed improvisation, which I was talking to Matastrophic about, and that would be low S tier. So, yeah. Multiplayer, he turns into the rogue player who plays You Handle This One with Codex. So, Painted World. There's really only one tier this could be in. The only annoying things with Painted World are you don't get to control what events you can copy. It's just whatever you draw. So that's kind of annoying. You can't copy an event in your hand. Her weakness kind of picks apart at this a little bit, but this is still an S. With Safina's card draw and resource generation ability, this is pretty insane. And then we have Twilight Blade. So I haven't played Deanna yet. So if it can even be a boat. I miss Family Guy. Anyway, Twilight Blade. You may play or commit events and skills beneath Stanley as if they were in your hand. As an additional cost to play or commit a card in this way, exhaust Twilight Blade. You cannot trigger Stanley's reaction ability in this way. So we all like that ally that you can put a spell event underneath her and play it a bunch of times. So that seems awesome. It only does 1 damage a swing, but that's probably not the point of this card. Yeah, I think this is pretty good. This is probably, I wouldn't call it a weapon, so I won't put it, like, compare it to other weapons, of course. But this could be, it's either top of B tier, lower A tier. You do have to have the weapons underneath her to make it work. So it's not like immediately good. So maybe that's B tier. Could be wrong with that. Again, kind of theory crafting that card out. Let's look at Until End of Time. Calvin gets to have a soak for direct damage and direct horror, which is incredibly good. It's super cheap. The real hard part about Calvin is getting so much damage and horror on him that he can the worst part of Calvin is that he has 6 health and 6 sanity most of the time, and Until End of Time kind of gives you some protection with it. This alongside the 5 of Pentacles, and then he gets a lot better. So, especially because it lets him, if you have until end of time, you can soak more, feel more comfortable with soaking. So it's an indirect stat boost as well, which is really good. So I'm thinking A tier. Probably better than these cards. Probably way up there. And then we have 2 more old school cards here. Wendy's Amulet. Is that the only really good core set signature card? Could be missing some. Roland's Weapon's decent. But yeah, there seems to be two halves of Wendy. Either Wendy's awesome ability until, whoops. Then you get the amulet out, and then it's a whole nother game. Since you can discard so easily with her, it's easy to put whatever event you want to play anyway on top of your discard pile. So that's really good. Only annoying thing with Wendy's Amulet is that you almost need to wait a little bit. It's not something if you draw in your opening hand. It's kind of annoying because if you play, once the amulet is out and you're playing events from your hand, then you won't be able to recur them with the amulet. But that's only a minor annoyance. This is definitely probably lower S tier just because of the timing involved, but the effect is super powerful. It's the only good core signature. Yeah. And then we have my wife's other favorite investigator. The default investigator to recommend to new players. So he's cross. Especially at the time in the era of Dunwich, you could ping off so many things with Zoe's Cross, just kill it outright. So that means it's not quite as good as it is now, as it was. You have Hallowed Mirror is a pretty competing for that slot, but it's super cheap. You don't have to use it. You can grab resources if you need to. Dealing damage to an enemy with odd amount of health is really good, since most weapons or actions deal damage due to. So it saves you fight actions. It's anything that does automatic test-free damage is really good. This is probably low S tier, upper A tier. Yeah, I'm thinking low S tier with Zoe's Cross. So let's see, anything obvious that I might reconsider about? I think Green Man Medallion, well, at least unlike the other D tier cards, you're probably not going to use it as it's an unexpected courage, that's okay, I guess. But it kind of actively works against you, against the whole thing Jenny's trying to get done. So I think that should be, it's going to go even further down for me. I think the Heirloom's a little, well, it's probably up here. Mystic likes card draw. Then Detective Colts, I don't know, they're okay. I just don't see them used a whole lot. But unfortunately, we missed a couple of cards. Improvisation should be up here in the S tier. It's a rich man's version of Uncage the Soul, so that's always good. Did I miss anything else? Oh yeah, Homefront. Probably mid A tier, low A tier. It's again in rich man's version of Vicious Blow, so that's really good. Decided not to go with starter cards just because I don't want to, well, err on the side of not spoiling things for people who don't want them spoiled. But bury them deep at B. Yeah, there are some situations where stuff can come back to hurt you, and then that takes it out of the pool. So there are some situations where that's really good. It's also super cheap. It's not a, it's fast. There's not really a commitment you have to have when you have bury them deep. Dark Insight, I missed that one too, didn't I? That's the other Diana card. Dark Insight. Yeah, that should be an S tier card probably too. Does Deanna start with that? Yeah, you get to, so yeah, that's S tier then. If it starts in your opening hand, that's ridiculous. But Deanna Stanley is kind of the Mystic Calvin. She's kind of a she's kind of a snowball that you need to start rolling as soon as you can. So this is basically the I should play Deanna Stanley sometime stream. Because I tend to play kind of the simpler mystics when I play mystics. So yeah, I should probably play some Deanna Stanley. Anything else that I missed? I don't think so. Let's see. I'll try not to take forever for this. Dark Side. Yeah, Deanna would also force me to learn Mystic card pool a lot more. Yeah, I think we have everything. Like I said, we missed Lola Hayes, unfortunately. Yeah. That's about it. I'm going to update this with the cards that I missed, and then I'll put it around somewhere to find. I'll have to see. But anyways, I think everybody's killing blobs right now, so hopefully there's a good Mandy's. Oh my goodness, I missed so many cards. Whoops. Let's see, what's her card? Occult Evidence. Sorry about that, guys. I ended up missing a bunch of these. So yeah, test-free clue reading is always good. You're going to be searching your deck a million times. Something rook, something taboo, something take a shot. It is a little bit hard to plan around. You can't always wait to do searching for the purpose of hitting occult evidence, unless if you have a smaller, if you're running out of cards in your deck, you could do that. That would be good. So it's probably not as well. It might be consistent, but it's definitely, it feels to me like a really good bonus, more than anything else. So it would probably be high B tier. I think it's good enough to be high B tier. Let's see anybody else here. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, Min's card. I forget what it's called already. Mystifying Song. Patrice is Trumpet. Not Trumpet, my goodness. Her Violin. Becky, Twin 45s. I'm done running Jim's Trumpet. Spirit Speaker. B tier, Twilight Blade. Roland's Gun. 38 special. Tony Morgan's Gun. Smuggled Goods. Mysteries Remain. Jake Williams. Joe's Guns. Finn's Guns. Bury 'em Deep. Then Heirloom of Hyper. Agnes's card. Rex's Search for the Truth. Foolishness. Mitch Brown. And then the worst of the worst. Green Man Medallion. Split the Angle. Daisy's Tote Bag. And On the Lamb. So, hope you guys have a good rest of Farkham. I'm going to go watch Blob get killed, probably. And have a good one, guys.